Okay, so welcome to another deep dive. Today we are going to trace a foundational narrative for you.
Okay.
One that begins with this remarkable
Yeah.
feat of unity, but culminates in dispersal.
Right.
And then it kind of zeroes in on the really nascent stages
Uh-huh.
of a lineage that is destined for significance.
For sure.
And our sources for this exploration
Okay.
are going to be excerpts from the book of Genesis.
Okay.
Specifically, we're going to be looking at chapters 11 through 15.
Gotcha.
Our mission here is to really understand
Okay.
what are the core events that are going on,
Yes.
and how does this initial establishment
Yeah.
of a pivotal figure,
Okay.
how does that happen within these ancient texts?
Right.
So let's unpack this, starting with the construction project
Yeah.
of truly epic proportions.
Right.
Genesis chapter 11 immediately throws us into this fascinating scenario
Yes, it does.
where all of humanity is speaking just one language,
Uh-huh.
and they're totally united in purpose. What's really striking to me is their ambition
Okay.
as they migrate to the plain of Shinar.
Yeah.
They don't just settle down. They collectively decide,
Right.
we're going to undertake something huge, something really extraordinary.
The big one.
They're like, let us build ourselves a city
Wow.
and a tower with its top in the heavens,
Yeah.
and let us make a name for ourselves,
Make a name.
lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth.
Right.
That little statement speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They're driven by this desire for recognition.
Totally.
They want earthly immortality through this structure,
Right.
and they clearly do not want to be scattered.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about the human impulse
Oh, that's a good question.
toward this kind of collective achievement?
Yeah.
And maybe even a little bit of defiance of natural forces or perceived divine will.
You know, that's interesting because you think about
Yeah.
it's their unity is their strength. But the narrative suggests that their strength becomes a point of concern for
Yeah.
someone.
It's like, is it the ambition itself that's the issue?
Right.
Or is it the potential for this unified power
Exactly.
to be used in ways that are not
Yeah.
aligned with this broader divine plan?
Right.
So what happens when this unified human endeavor
Yeah.
comes under divine scrutiny?
Uh,
The Lord comes down to see the city and the tower
he's checking it out.
that the children of man had built.
Yeah.
It's a moment of inspection.
He's like the foreman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he's coming down and he's like,
Yeah.
okay, what's going on here?
Right.
And, you know, the divine response is not one of
Not exactly.
approval for their
Yeah.
ingenuity.
No. He's not impressed.
The Lord's assessment is really interesting here.
What's he say?
He says, behold, they are one people and they have all one language.
Mm-hmm.
And this is only the beginning of what they will do.
Oh.
And nothing that they propose to do
yeah.
will now be impossible for them. It seems to be concerned about
It is.
the implications of
Yeah.
this unchecked unity and ambition.
That's right.
So it seems the divine response targets their ability
Okay.
to act collectively.
So what does he do?
God says, come, let us go down and there confuse their language
Oh, wow.
so that they may not understand one another's speech.
That'll slow him down.
That's a fascinating solution, isn't it?
It really is.
To disrupt their means of collaboration.
Yeah, just take away their ability to communicate with
Yeah.
each other.
And that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
It leads to the cessation of their building and their scattering.
Wow.
So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth,
Uh-huh.
and they left off building the city.
What's that?
And that's how we get the name of the city,
Oh, really?
Babel,
Okay.
because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth.
So Babel means confusion.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So from this grand vision of unity,
Yeah.
we have the emergence of division and dispersal. But the story doesn't end there.
It doesn't.
We then move into a genealogy.
Oh, a genealogy.
Tracing this line of descent from Shem, it feels like a significant pivot in the narrative.
It is a crucial pivot because what's happening here is we're
Yeah.
getting this bridge between
Uh-huh.
the bigger story of humanity's dispersal
Right.
to this specific lineage that's going to bring us to Abram,
Yeah.
who we're going to focus on for the next couple of chapters.
Okay.
What I think is interesting here is
Mhm.
this almost rhythmic listing of ages.
Yeah.
Like Shem lived for centuries after the birth of Arphaxad,
Right.
and so on down to Terah.
Uh-huh.
And it gives you a sense of the vast sweep of time
Mhm.
and these generations gradually unfolding.
Yeah, like this slow burn
That's right.
that leads us all the way down to Terah.
Yeah.
So we see the lineage progressing through Arphaxad, Shelah, Eber,
Uh-huh.
Peleg, Ruz, Serug, Nahor, and finally to Terah,
Yeah.
who at the age of 70 fathered
Wow. 70.
Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
Okay.
Now, there's a brief, but I think pretty important mention
Oh, right.
of Haran's death in Ur of the Chaldees before his father, Terah.
Okay.
It's a small detail, but it hints at
I see ya.
potential shifts in family dynamics.
Right.
And, the early loss that might have shaped Abram's life.
Yeah. When you think about these stories and how it's not always just about the big picture, but it's these little details that really make you think about the human side of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're also told that Abram and Nahor got married.
Okay.
And Abram's wife, Sarai, is specifically noted as being barren.
Okay.
This detail might seem minor right now.
Right.
But it will gain considerable significance.
Oh, I bet.
As Abram's story unfolds, it introduces this element of potential vulnerability and dependence on divine intervention for future promises.
Can't have it all figured out right.
That's right.
You got to have some room for...
Got to leave a little room.
Yeah, a little mystery.
Then we have Terah's departure from Ur.
Okay.
He takes Abram Lot Haran's son and Sarai with him.
Okay.
Intending to travel to Canaan. However, they settle in Haran.
They stop on the way.
Yeah, they settle down on the way.
Okay.
And this is where Terah dies.
Oh, wow.
At the ripe old age of 205.
205. That's amazing.
Can you imagine?
I can't even imagine.
I can't even imagine what that would be like.
205 years old?
Yeah.
It almost feels like a pause.
Yeah, like a little break.
Before Abram's true journey and calling begin.
Right.
So Terah's migration brings Abram geographically closer.
Yeah, closer to Canaan.
To the land of Canaan. But it's really the direct divine command.
Yeah.
In Genesis 12.
Okay.
That marks the beginning of Abram's pivotal role in the narrative.
I see.
This is where things start to get really compelling.
Okay, I'm ready.
The Lord speaks directly to Abram, issuing this really profound command.
What does he say? He says, "Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you."
Wow.
That's a radical demand.
It is.
He's requiring Abram to sever ties with everything he knows to step into the unknown.
Yeah, just trust me.
Yeah.
He's like, trust me, I'll take care of you.
Totally.
Wow.
And the promises that accompany this are really extraordinary.
Okay.
God declares, "I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse.
Whoa.
And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed."
Wow. So this is a big deal.
This is huge.
Yeah.
These are foundational promises, like establishing Abram's destiny and his role in this much larger universal plan.
Right.
Abram's response is immediate obedience.
No questions asked.
He just goes.
Wow.
At the age of 75,
75.
he departs from Haran, and his nephew Lot goes with him. They take Sarai, all their possessions, and the people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan.
They're on the move.
They're on the move.
All right.
It really underscores Abram's faith.
It does.
And his willingness to act upon what God has told him.
Yeah, he doesn't hesitate at all.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Their journey through Canaan leads them to Shechem.
Okay.
To the Oak of Moreh, which is a significant place.
What happens there?
Where God appears to Abram.
Oh, wow.
And reaffirms the promise of the land.
Okay.
For his descendants.
Wow.
And Abram builds an altar there.
Yeah.
Marking this divine encounter.
Oh, I see.
Building an altar in this context was more than just an act of worship.
Yeah, what else was it?
It was consecrating a space. And acknowledging the divine presence in that location.
Right.
Almost like a physical manifestation of the promise.
I see.
They continue traveling.
Okay.
And they move east of Bethel and Ai. Where Abram builds another altar.
Another one.
And called upon the name of the Lord.
Yeah.
It emphasizes his growing relationship with God.
Right.
And his consistent acts of worship as he journeys through this promised land.
Okay.
But then the narrative introduces this change in circumstances.
Okay, what happens?
A famine hits the land.
Oh, no.
And Abram is forced to seek refuge in Egypt.
So they gotta leave.
They gotta go somewhere else.
To survive.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
This sets the stage for a rather delicate situation.
Oh, okay.
Involving Sarai's renowned beauty.
What happens?
So Abram is aware that Sarai is beautiful in appearance. And he fears that the Egyptians will kill him to take her.
Oh, so he's worried.
Yeah, he's really worried.
For his safety.
Yeah, he comes up with this plan.
What's he gonna do?
Asking Sarai to say she's his sister.
Oh.
The moment that reveals a very human vulnerability in Abram.
I can see that.
Where fear temporarily overshadows his faith in the promises.
That's so human, though.
It is. When you think about it.
Yeah.
We all have those moments.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Where fear kind of takes over.
Definitely.
And we maybe don't act.
Right.
In accordance with
the best way.
Yeah, our highest self or what we think we should be doing.
Yeah.
It's a revealing moment.
Yeah.
You know, highlighting those complexities of faith in the face of real danger.
Right. You think you're strong.
You think you're strong.
And then something comes along and you're like,
it tests you.
Oh, wait a minute.
What do I do?
I'm not so sure anymore.
Yeah.
So what happens? Do the Egyptians buy it?
Upon their arrival in Egypt,
yeah,
Sarai's beauty captures everyone's attention.
Uh-huh.
She's admired by the Egyptians.
Yeah.
And ultimately is taken into Pharaoh's household.
Oh, wow.
And as a result, Pharaoh bestows many gifts upon Abram because of her.
Oh, wow. So he's benefiting from this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really,
yeah.
You know, you can see how he made this decision out of fear, but it's actually working out pretty well for him.
For now.
For now.
Yeah.
But this deception does not go unnoticed.
Oh.
The Lord inflicts plagues
on
Pharaoh and his household because of Sarai.
Oh, no.
It's a clear divine intervention
that
exposes Abram's deception.
He can't hide from God.
Yeah, he can't hide.
Yeah.
Pharaoh, upon discovering the truth, confronts Abram directly.
What's he say?
He says, "What is this that you have done to me?
Yeah.
Why did you not tell me that she was your wife?"
Right.
He's understandably upset.
Yeah, I would be too if I were Pharaoh and I found out that this was happening.
And so he orders Abram, Sarai, and all their possessions to leave Egypt.
Get out.
Yeah, get out.
Wow.
So it's a somewhat ignominious departure.
It's not a happy ending.
Not a happy ending.
Okay.
It underscores those potential negative consequences of Abram's fear-driven actions.
You can't escape the consequences, so they just leave.
In Genesis 13, we see their return from Egypt.
Right.
Considerably wealthier now.
Oh, they made out okay.
They did all right.
Okay.
They have livestock, silver and gold.
Oh, wow.
They journey back to Bethel, to the site of the first altar.
Okay.
And there, Abram once again calls upon the name of the Lord.
Right.
So it signifies this return.
Or return to the beginning.
Yeah, return to that initial connection with the divine in the promised land.
Okay.
But their increased wealth presents this new challenge.
Uh-oh, what's that?
The land can no longer support both Abram's and Lot's growing households.
Oh, so they've got too much stuff.
Yeah, too many people, too many animals.
Too much for the area.
Yeah. And so this leads to friction between their herdsmen.
Well,
it's this very human conflict arising from material prosperity.
They've got too much, and now they're fighting over it.
Exactly.
It's such a human thing to do.
So Abram, demonstrating remarkable wisdom and a desire for peace, proposes a separation to Lot.
He's like, let's just split up.
Yeah, he's like, we got to split up.
Before things get really bad.
And he gives Lot first choice of the land.
Oh, wow. He's really generous.
Yeah, very generous.
Okay.
He says, if you take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you take the right hand, then I will go to the left.
Oh, wow. He's giving him all the power.
He's giving him the choice.
Wow. Okay.
It's a pivotal decision that will have lasting consequences for both of them.
So what does Lot choose?
Lot looks around, observing the landscape.
Yeah.
And he chooses the well-watered plain of the Jordan River.
Okay.
Toward Sodom.
Sodom.
A region described as being like the garden of the Lord.
Wow.
Like the land of Egypt.
It sounds really nice.
It does sound beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, the text makes a point of noting
that
this separation occurred before the later destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right.
So this is giving us this chronological marker. Yeah, setting the stage.
So Abram remains in the land of Canaan, while Lot settles in these cities of the plain.
Yeah.
Eventually pitching his tents near Sodom, whose inhabitants are described as wicked great sinners against the Lord.
Oh, so he's not picking the best crowd?
He's going toward the trouble.
Yeah.
So geographically they're separated, but it also seems to foreshadow their diverging paths.
Their destinies,
And destinies.
Okay.
And immediately following Lot's departure, the Lord speaks to Abram once more.
Okay.
Renewing and expanding the promise of the land.
Wow.
This time, the scope is even broader.
Okay.
He says, all the land that you see, I will give to you and to your offspring forever.
Wow.
I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, then your offspring also can be counted.
He's going for a lot of descendants.
A lot. It's this powerful reaffirmation of the initial covenant.
God then instructs Abram, walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I will give it to you.
Right.
It's almost a symbolic act of taking possession of the promised territory.
Like he's staking his claim.
Yeah.
Okay.
In response, Abram moves his tents to the Oaks of Mamre at Hebron.
Okay.
And he builds another altar.
Another altar.
He's building a lot of these.
These altars signify these key moments of divine encounter and commitment in Abram's journey.
Okay.
Now, the narrative
Yeah.
takes this really unexpected turn.
Oh, what now?
With the introduction of Genesis 14
Okay.
and the outbreak of war.
Oh, wow.
We're suddenly presented with this conflict
Okay.
between an alliance of 4 kings from Mesopotamia
Okay.
and 5 kings of the cities surrounding the Salt Sea, including Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Wow, so this is a big conflict.
Yeah, it feels like a shift in scale.
It does. From personal journeys and divine promises to this broader geopolitical landscape of conflict and power struggles.
It's like Game of Thrones, but in the Bible.
So the 5 kings had been under the dominion of Chedorlaomer, one of the 4 kings, for 12 years and had rebelled in the 13th year.
So they said, enough is enough.
Yeah, they said, we're done with this.
Okay.
So this invasion in the 14th year is clearly a punitive expedition.
They're coming to put them back in their place.
Yeah, he's like, you thought you could rebel against me. I'm going to show you what's up.
Right.
And it's successful.
Oh, no.
For Chedorlaomer and his allies.
Okay.
They systematically defeat various peoples in the region, including the Rephaim, the Zuzi, the Emim, and the Horites.
Wow, he's naming a lot of groups.
Yeah, and they even strike the Amalekites and the Amorites.
Okay, so they're on a roll.
They're on a roll, and their campaign culminates in this battle.
Okay.
In the Valley of Siddim.
Yeah.
Against the 5 kings who suffer a decisive defeat.
Oh, wow.
And the valley is described as being full of these bitumen pits.
Okay.
And some of the defeating kings fall into them.
Oh, no.
It's not a good way to go.
No.
So the victorious kings
seize
all the goods and provisions of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay.
And tragically, they also take Lot and his possessions.
Oh, no. Lot's in trouble.
He's in trouble.
Now he's caught up in this.
Yeah, he's caught up in this mess.
Okay.
And this personal connection is what draws Abram directly into this larger conflict.
So he has to do something.
He has to do something.
Okay.
So this fugitive escapes and brings the news of Lot's capture to Abram.
Yeah.
Who is identified as Abram the Hebrew.
Abram the Hebrew.
And he's living near the Oaks of Mamre with his Amorite allies Eshcol and Aner.
Okay.
Upon hearing this news, Abram takes immediate action.
He's got to save Lot.
He's got to go get his nephew.
Okay.
He musters his trained servants born in his household.
Okay.
A force of 318 men.
318?
Yeah.
Against a whole army.
Yeah.
That's brave.
It's pretty remarkable that such a small group would challenge this victorious coalition of armies.
Yeah, he's really going up against it.
But Abram employs this really clever military tactic.
Okay, what does he do?
He divides his forces and launches this night attack.
Oh, a surprise attack.
Routing the 4 kings and their armies.
Wow.
And chasing them all the way to Holbah, north of Damascus.
Wow. So he's successful.
He's successful.
Okay.
It's a testament to Abram's leadership, his courage, and maybe we could even say divine favor.
Right, because how else could he have pulled that off with such a small force?
And he succeeds.
Okay.
Abram recovers all the stolen goods, his nephew Lot, and his possessions, as well as the captured women and other people.
So he gets everyone back.
He gets everyone back.
Wow, what a hero.
It's this significant victory
it is
that establishes Abram as a force to be reckoned with in the region.
He's not messing around.
No, he's not.
Okay.
So following this victory,
Abram
is met by 2 kings in the Valley of Sheva.
Okay.
Also known as the King's Valley.
The King's Valley.
One is the king of Sodom.
Okay.
Who offers Abram to keep the recovered goods.
And
just return the people.
Okay.
The other is this rather enigmatic figure.
Who's that?
Melchizedek,
Melchizedek,
king of Salem,
king of Salem,
and a priest to the Most High God.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Melchizedek brings out bread and wine.
Okay.
And he blesses Abram, acknowledging God, Most High possessor of heaven and earth, for delivering Abram's enemies into his hand.
Yeah.
Abram then gives Melchizedek a tenth of all the recovered spoils.
Oh, wow.
It's this act of respect and recognition of Melchizedek's priestly authority.
Okay.
Then comes this offer from the king of Sodom.
Okay.
Presenting Abram with this kind of moral dilemma.
What's the offer?
The king says, give me the people and take the goods for yourself.
Oh.
It would have been very tempting for Abram.
It would have been, yeah.
To enrich himself.
Especially after the battle.
Right. He just had this military victory.
Right.
He could really set himself up.
Yeah.
But Abram makes this solemn oath to the Lord.
Okay.
Refusing to take even the smallest thing from the king of Sodom's possessions.
So he's not taking anything.
He doesn't take anything.
Okay.
Not a thread nor a sandal strap.
Nothing.
He wants to make it clear that his wealth and success come from God alone.
Not from the king.
Not from the king of Sodom.
Okay.
He only requests that his allies, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, receive their rightful share.
Oh, so he's looking after his guys.
Yeah, he's taking care of his guys. Yeah. It's a powerful display of integrity.
Yeah.
And reliance on divine provision.
Yeah, he's trusting that God's going to take care of him.
Totally.
Okay.
This brings us to Genesis 15.
All right.
And a further deepening of that covenant relationship.
Okay.
After these things, the word of the Lord comes to Abram in a vision, offering this reassurance.
What does he say?
Fear not, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward shall be very great.
Oh, wow.
But despite the recent victory and the earlier promise of countless descendants,